Talk shoes. Recorded live.
Hello, this is Kat Miller. It is Tuesday, May 10th, 2011, and I'm here talking with our shaman, Dane Kirby. Welcome, Dane.
Thank you, dear. Glad to be back as always.
Yeah. I assume you had a wonderful week, including a great Mother's Day with your wife and family.
You know, that's still a strange experience for me. I mean, our daughter's only, 13 and a half months old now, and I'm 49 at the end of this month, and my wife's, well, we can't say her age. Let's just say she's a little younger than me. It's amazing what you aren't used to and how long it can take you to get used to things sometimes. And it's just so fascinating. And nobody told me, well, maybe everybody told me, she's growing like a weed. This is not the same kid I looked at yesterday. And so, yeah, Carrie was having an experience with Mother's Day like, oh, yeah, I'm a mom. Oh, that makes you a dad, doesn't it? We're like, oh, yeah, I guess it does. So, yeah, it's totally wonderful and lovely, and we had a great time.
Awesome. Totally awesome. It's really quite an experience, isn't it, being a parent?
Yeah, and I never, of course, without having, without doing the kids, you wouldn't know. I never thought it made a difference. And boy, did I learn. Oh, yes, have I learned. And I guess when she turns 16 and says, Daddy, Portia, so that I can fit in at school, I guess I'll learn about that too then, right? I'm waiting for her to say mutual fund when she turns like 2. But, I did have an interesting thing happen over the weekend. We had a wedding to go to, and when we went to it, I was going to it with a friend of mine he's a major strength person, okay? He's out there in the world, and if you want certain strength things, you go to him. Well, going to the wedding, I remember telling Carrie, I said, oh, man, I really hope that Brooks is there, another major player in the strength arena, just does things, differently. I said, I really hope he's there because I haven't seen him in years, and it'd be great to get in touch with him again. And sure enough, he was at the wedding. I'm like, oh, this is great. So we saw each other. We right across the room clicked, started talking. He said, this is great, Dane. He said, by the way, I was driving up here with my wife and I saw this sign that said Dane's Realty. And he goes, wow, I haven't seen Dane in years. I wonder if he's branched out into a different arena. And I said, well, there is Dane's Reality. There's no doubt about that. It's just not Dane's Realty. And it's amazing how we reconnected after 5 years of not being in any kind of contact because various things happened and we ended up going different directions and lost contact with each other. And now we're back in contact, and it's amazing how I know for me it's making huge differences, but also for him it's making a difference. It's fascinating that as you're open to things in this world, they happen for you. And you and I were talking about that earlier. Now, all you got to do is decide to be open and then take some form of action geared towards it, and look what happens.
Exactly.
Because I really did want to see him again. I was really hoping he would be at this wedding. And lo and behold, he was. Out of all the people that could have been at the wedding that I knew and had lost touch with, he was the one that I really wanted to get reconnected with, and there he was. And then to find out that he was thinking of me on the way up here, hoping I was going to be there. Well, thanks, universe. Appreciate that.
Yes. Isn't it amazing what happens when you set your intention and you just allow it to flow?
That's it.
It makes a huge...
But you have to take some kind of action.
Yeah, you could have been sitting there thinking, I would love to see him. It would be awesome if he was at that wedding. Too bad I'm not going.
Right. Yeah, totally. And, then all of a sudden, I had the perfect opportunity. The universe set it up, and I did not take advantage of that. We were talking earlier that also my wife, being the go-getter that she is, just for fun, a friend of hers said, look, get out there and go for this. Put you're wanting to get into this certain arena. And got her set up with getting a very specialized type of resume built and put out on Monster. And it hadn't been out there 24 hours when all of a sudden She got headhunted by a corporation that's incredible in so many levels and fits her so perfectly. We were just sitting here, like, wow, that's like amazing. So she put it up, put the effort into it to do it right, got it out there, and got a massive answer within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, hey, universe is cool. But again, take action. I mean, Kat, come on, you've got to know a lot of examples of this. Folks, I guess this might be what our subject is tonight. People that we've known that if you took action, things happen for you after you put the intent out there or as you input the intent out there. What about Kat? Who you got? What do you got for a good one there?
Well, one that happened over the weekend was that I was going to the store, and it was Saturday. Saturday is a zoo at the store, and there are never any close parking spaces. Well, I decided that since I had to go to the store, it was going to be a smooth and easy trip. I decided that I would have a parking space close, easy. I decided that it would be a smooth trip through and that I would get checked out very quickly. I decided all of this as I was driving down to the store. Well, I got to the store, and when I pulled into the parking lot, I just was urged to turn left. I usually go to the right. I was urged to turn left.
Mm-hmm.
So I went left, and I went over a couple of aisles, and I drove down the aisle, got the closest parking space to the store outside of the handicapped. So it was just right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then I went into the store. I did my shopping, found everything I wanted, and when I went to check out, we've got this very busy store. I can see people everywhere, but nobody's ever in my way. And as I walk up to the front, not only is there one check stand that's completely open and has nobody checking out, but there are actually two in a row, and I could take my pick. So I did, and I checked out. So it was a very quick trip to the store. In the middle of the day on Saturday, the day before Mother's Day, and from all apparent appearances, the store was extremely busy. But not where I
Love
was.
it. Yeah. So you were going to the beat of your own drummer, but you were in tune with the universe, and you got the result you desired.
Absolutely. Totally.
I mean, fair enough statement?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and that's just why. Oh, and this was so cool. I just wrote about this at the Switchwords group on Yahoo as well as the Switchwords group on Facebook. This was really fascinating. I last night in the middle of the night I kind of half woke up, and when I did, I heard my husband snoring, and I couldn't sleep because of his snoring. So
a skillet to the head will usually take care of that.
Oh, but this is so much easier because I didn't even have to get out of bed for this. All I did was there was a switchphrase that came up a while back for me for snoring, to stop snoring. And I guess I could back up a little bit. There with TBM and natural healing, there's a little technique where you put rice on tape rice to the joints of the baby finger before bed, and you continue to do that every night until 2 weeks after the snoring has stopped. That's one little technique, and by the way, that can be used for bedwetting as well. Anyway, I had done that on myself, but any time that I didn't put the rice on my fingers, my husband would say that I'd snore, and he'd sometimes get up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and go somewhere else to sleep because he wasn't getting the sleep. And so I didn't like that.
He was probably looking for a skillet, but okay.
Anyway, so a while back, I had this switch phrase come up for quieting the snoring, and I started using it every night before I go to bed. or I guess I should say as I go to bed when I lie down and I'm getting ready to sleep, I start just repeating it in my head. I don't say it out loud or anything. I just, anyway. So he hasn't been being awakened by me snoring since then. So last night when I was awake and he was snoring and I couldn't sleep, I just intended this in my head, and it was really quite fascinating to see what happened as I did this, because the first time I did it, he took a really deep breath in, and then the sound of his snoring was half as loud as it had been. So I continued to repeat it a few more times, and the next time he took a deep breath in, it faded again, and over the course of the next few minutes, it just got to the point where I reached over to feel and make sure he was breathing.
Oh, you used the wrong switch words, did you? You used the insurance collection switch word, huh?
He had gotten so quiet, he was breathing so quietly that I could barely even hear him. And so it was really amazing to see what happened. And I'll give you the switch phrase, because it's one that I have memorized. And interestingly, it's
okay, folks, get a pen and pencil out for this.
It's almost the same one I used for the crickets, with just one word change in it when we had crickets in the house a few years back. Anyway, this one is quiet, shut, and shut, now done. Once again, that's quiet.
And say that again for everybody.
Quiet, shut, and shut, now done. Quiet is about quieting the ego, quieting all the voices, quieting anything that is making the noise. Shut is about stop causing trouble. And, that's E-N-D, is about ending this segment. Time to stop whatever is going on. And then shut, once again, stop causing the trouble. And now is posthaste, no more procrastination about this. And done is about creating completion. And so it was really quite fascinating to see what happened. I was able to get right back to sleep because he got quiet. And once I was calm about the fact that, yes, he is still breathing, I just can't hear him anymore. I was trying.
No insurance money this time, huh?
Yes, thank goodness.
Now, is this something that you would use every night for to work every night, or is it something you can just use a few times and then it's permanent?
I would expect.
What's your take on that?
I would expect that using it a few times is permanent, but I'll tell you that I just, out of habit, use it because I don't want to find out in the morning or find out at 3 o'clock in the morning that he's gotten out of bed because I was snoring. And so it's just when I go to bed, I just do that. It's as I'm lying there.
Maybe I need to clarify. You're using the switch words, I mean.
Yes.
Or are we talking rice here?
Oh, the rice? Okay, the rice thing.
No, the switch words, I'm saying, would that be permanent if you use the switch words consistently?
I think so. Yeah, okay. You'll have to let me know. Do you snore?
Actually, since I got my nose rebuilt, no, but my wife does.
When you go to bed.
Oh, am I telling secrets out of town here, you know? Yeah, I'm going to. And now what about the rice? This is one that you would think, with the things I've grown up and learned, that I would have heard of this one, and I haven't. Where did you get this one from?
It's out of total body modification and environmental stress management. And so you actually have an ESM book, and you should be able to find that under the tricks at the end of one of the chapters.
Wow, that is just
the rule of thumb with that one is that you put the rice on those two joints. You just tape them to the two joints of the baby finger, and you do that before you go to sleep. And you do that every night for a minimum of 2 weeks past the last time that you hear someone snoring. And generally,
Okay.
it seems to be permanent. But in my case, it didn't seem to be, because if I would skip a night or two and not take the rice there, then I'd find my husband up in the middle of the night sleeping on the couch or in the front bedroom or something. And so I was putting the rice on my fingers all the time, and then I kind of slowly quit doing it, and then I found him out on the couch one morning again, and at that point I thought, what about switch words? I can easily do switch words every time I go to bed, even if I'm half asleep when I go in there. I can still at least get in one or two of it, and that's when I started doing that, and that was probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And
so it's working for you as well.
Yeah. I haven't.
Fascinating.
I haven't had him abandon me in bed since.
He's supposed to keep you warm, Come on.
Yeah. Well, come on. I'm in Tucson. I don't need him to be warm.
That's right. You are getting the good temperatures now.
Yeah, well, right now, actually, it's kind of cool out there. I bet it's only in the 60s, and so it's really quite nice out there. But the thing that was really fascinating was how it worked last night with him. I didn't have to disturb him. I didn't have to wake him up. I didn't have to tell him to stop snoring. I didn't have to tell him, here, repeat this after me. Quiet, shut, in, shut, now, done. I didn't have to do any of that. All I did was register he's snoring and I'm not getting back to sleep. Oh, quiet, shut, and shut, now, done. And I hear this big...
Well, you just saved a lot of marriages. No,
but
truthfully, let's think about this.
Draw of breath.
How many marriages have you just saved with this? And we both, well, I know for sure, I know people that sleep in separate rooms because one of them snores like they're dying. So, and I've had people come to me over the years for that, for various things like, one or the other snores so badly, and what can we do about it? And there were ways to fix it, but the two you just told me were two I don't know. And, well, I do now. Yay. That's what I love about these talks. You get that, folks? That's why we have these talks. Not only do you get to learn something cool, we get to learn something cool. So, okay, but it comes down to you took action.
Absolutely, and that's what makes a difference. I sat there. I could have sat there and thought, I want him to quit snoring. I want him to quit snoring. I want to get to sleep. I want to get to sleep. But I'm not doing anything about it. Instead, I thought, oh, he's snoring. I am not able to get to sleep with him snoring. What can I do to get to sleep and not disturb him? And it's like, well, switch words, of course, because I use switch words constantly in my life. I align with so many different switch words. I have learned so much about switch words. And, of course, I had already taken that action on my own snoring and knew that it was working because I wasn't losing my bed partner.
And you weren't getting skilleted to the head.
Yes, exactly. And so it was just awesome to see how magically it works. In fact, I don't think he knows that I did that last night. I haven't told him. I've told the world, but I haven't told him.
Don't worry. I'm actually. What do you think here? Should I tell Carrie or should I just do it?
That's totally up to you.
Because see, then there's a different component. Okay, if they're consciously aware of it, will they fight against it?
Why would they?
So this is interesting.
Why would
people? Well, people have weird reasons why they do things. Doesn't make sense, but it's just what they do.
But why?
And we're all human. We do that.
Yeah, but why would you fight against something that makes it so that, first of all, you're not making a lot of noise while you're sleeping, keeping someone else awake, and secondly, that makes it so that you actually are getting better sleep? Because if you snore, you probably wake yourself up several times a night. Not just the person.
But, I'll give you an example then on that, why people would do that as far as, against themselves. When Harvard completed their study, it was a few years ago, they did a 40 or 42-year study, and they followed doctors, dentists, that profession. And my father-in-law was involved in it. He was a dentist. And he stayed with it for the entire 40 years of the study. They said it's going to take them decades to actually find out even more. They were stunned by what this has done for them. But one of the things that they recognized within 15 years of starting the study, that if you have 10 people that go see a doctor about a problem, and the doctor says, okay, if you change this, the problem goes away. And this also... Well, actually, this was actually considering life-threatening situations. If you do not change this one thing, you will die in this amount of time, period. And 9 out of people would not change. So, and again, rhyme or reason, it's what their fears are and things like that. So, yeah, that's where I'm debating. Do I tell her consciously? I'm going to go for the challenge. I'm going to tell her I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to do it. Because, hey, why not go for the big-time lab experiment,
Exactly.
So, and truthfully, she really would love to get better sleep, So, yeah. So let's find out here. Okay, you did it, and he was unconscious, but the world knows, and I'll do it, tell her beforehand, and then I'll do it, and I'll let you know next week.
Okay.
Or I can even update it on the board every day. I can say, hey, day 1, here's what happened. Day 2, or night 1, night 2, that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll do that.
The interesting difference here, though, is something very simple, and that is what the key is, the catch is if it's something that's very simple and easy to incorporate in, something that you can do without really thinking a lot. Like, I'm lying in bed, and I'm just wanting to go to sleep. I am at a space where I'm ready to sleep. And I don't want to wake myself up, and I certainly don't want to wake my husband up. And so it's very easy if you have just a thought that you can use that will clear things. That's so much easier than a life change. Telling somebody that they have to quit smoking or they're going to die because they currently have either lung cancer or some breathing thing that's destroying them, you're telling them they can't do something that they want to do. And an adult is just like a child. You can't do this means don't you dare tell me what I cannot do.
Watch me raid that cookie jar when you're not looking. Yeah. Yep.
Precisely.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I recall
Totally.
when my mother-in-law was ill, and she had all kinds of things going on for quite some time before she died. But in the last few years, she was also dealing with diabetes, and she made a comment one time that she loved it when the furnace came on because it would make enough noise that her husband wouldn't hear her get out of bed and go get into things that she wanted to have. The diabetes dictated she shouldn't. And so, yeah, as adults, we still have those same kinds of tendencies. But the way I'm looking at this is it's something very, very different because it's not about your health. It's not about breaking a habit. It's not about something like that. It's about a simple thing that you can do, that you can actually make a habit that is relaxing and that helps to get you into the sleep, and it also helps anyone that's around you be able to get better sleep too. So the way I see this is that.
Okay. Have you, since I've worked with folks with sleep apnea, what do you think? Application for that?
Maybe. It may be very good for that. Try it.
Okay.
See what happens with it.
I've got volunteers for that, so I can get volunteers for that one too. Okay, excellent. I like this. Now, on the action, something you pointed out, and something that I want everybody to pay attention to here. You found the simplest and actually most effective action to take and took it. So, folks, it doesn't have to be difficult action. It doesn't have to be, oh man, it's going to take me 45 hours of busting my butt to do this. It doesn't have to be that. Action doesn't have to be difficult. It's just that you're taking the step and doing it. As Kat had figured out here, she was comfortable sleeping in bed. Why get up and get the skillet when I've got an easier way of doing this, you know? So keep that in mind, folks. If you're really, jammed up, go for the simpler way. Let yourself relax enough to find the easiest way to take the action. Now, look, sometimes you got to work at stuff. Fine, that's the way the world is. It's how you grow. But a lot of times it's not nearly as difficult as we make it. And that's just fear. I experienced that the first time I started martial arts when I was a kid. I was like, oh man, don't want to get hit, don't want to get hit, don't want to get hit. And then there came the day I got hit. I'm laying flat on my back going, oh man, seeing stars and donkeys and everything. And then as they're picking me up, I'm like, well, that really wasn't that bad. Well, it happened that I got hit more. That's just the nature of the way it was going to be. And suddenly I found out that, well, that's really no big issue. Wow, I was running from it and making it far harder than if I'd have just stepped up and said, okay, let's take care of this, and it's just going to be something that happens. Go with it. And that's the way a lot of things in life can be. They're not nearly as scary or big and bad as you think they are. And then once you take the action to get on the other side of them, you look back and go, gee, that was holding me back? And you find out it's just fear. Fear's not, well, I tell people fear won't kill them. I believe that, and I've had people argue that point with me like you wouldn't believe because they love their fear so much. But that's, again, no way to live. Don't live from fear-based. Live from you, love and happiness. So, what about Kat? You got any other cool examples of action?
Let me think. Well, one that always comes up is what I did to have Blue Iris come to me, because I started with thinking perhaps it would be a good idea to do a monthly newsletter or something like that. And, well, I guess somebody made a comment that I could have a Switchwords Institute because of my knowledge of Switchwords. And I thought, yeah, that's kind of a cool idea, Switchwords Institute. Somebody else, I mentioned, what would you think if I had a newsletter or something that I did? And the immediate response from that person was, oh, you can't do a monthly newsletter. That's not enough. You're too dynamic, Kat. You have too much going on all the time. And then I approached somebody else. And notice this. I have these thoughts, and I say them out to people. And things begin to build on it. So I tell somebody else, I'm thinking about a Switchwords Institute. What do you think of this? A blog or something where I talk about switchwords and so on. And this person said, oh, no, Institute, that's too sterile. That does not bring the image that we want. And so we started to talk, and Blue Iris is about communicating with source. And all of a sudden, there it was, Blue Iris Learning Center. And then I turned around, and I looked up Blue Iris. I looked to see is there a URL, and blueiris.org was available. And it's like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. It's very easy and just flows. So I had that. And then I talked to somebody else, and I told them what I was thinking about. I was thinking about the Blue Iris Learning Center, and they said, well, have you thought about the URL you want? And I said, yeah, sure, blueiris.org. It's available. I know it is, and that's what I want. Awesome. 5 minutes later, he tells me to type that in. And there it is, coming soon, Blue Iris Learning Center.
But it all took action, didn't it?
Yeah. what action was it that I was doing? I was thinking, what is it that I want? And then I was expressing what it was that I wanted. And then I was discussing with other people and enrolling them in what it was that I wanted. And they wanted it too. They wanted me to be able to share myself in a larger fashion than I was, and I wanted to. And grand ideas were born. And now we have the Blue Iris Learning Center. It's almost a year old now, and it has been just amazing to be there and to work with it and to just watch it blossom. And it's everything I wanted. It's very dynamic. I have a blog there on the front page that is cat thoughts. And frequently, sometimes 2 or 3 times in a day, sometimes once or twice a week, sometimes only 2 or 3 times in a month. It just kind of really varies. I write whatever it is that I'm thinking about in cat thoughts. And we have the switchword stuff. We have switchwords revealed. And off of that menu, you have many sub-menus talking about the different things about switchwords. We have switchwords for astrological imbalances. We have switchwords for students, for mothers, helpers, all kinds of lists of switchwords for dealing with and articles talking about switchwords. And it's very easy for me to add to it. In fact, this morning I added the switchwords for snoring. I have one section that has illnesses and diseases and the feelings that are at the root, most common feelings that are at the root of the particular illnesses and diseases, and then switch phrases to help dispel those. Well, this morning I added the first thing into snoring that is not actually a switch phrase that was composed looking at the feelings that may be related or at the root of snoring. It was this particular switch phrase, the quiet, shut, and shut, now done. I added under snoring, and then I put a link to a little article that I wrote this morning where I talked about exactly my experience that I just told you. And so not only do we have this here in the TalkCast, but we have it reflected at Blue Iris. And I do that all the time. I'm writing, at this point, I have over 400 articles. Actually, I'm approaching 500 articles at Blue Iris. And they're just arranged according to whatever it is that's happening at the time and wherever it needs to branch. And so it's like absolutely remarkable what has happened. And all that I did is I had a desire. I had something I wanted. What did I want? I focused on what I wanted. I began to talk about it. And that is so important because when you start to talk about what it is you want, your thoughts become more solid. And as your thoughts become more solid, you can visualize them better. And in that visualizing, you begin to draw them to reality.
That's it. That's why I do the I Love My Wife video series. I do it every, I get out there and do a video and say, I love my wife. Sometimes it's just that simple. It's amazing how great marriage to start with, and it's just getting deeper and more loving just from something that simple. Put it out in the universe, and I mean it. So there it goes, and things change for us, and we both sit there and we're stunned by some of the changes, like, wow, how did that come about? And it never happened before, and it's just from something as simple as, I love my wife. Say it out loud. Took action, and look what happened.
That is how absolutely everything in this world is created. It all originates from thought. And from that thought comes a declaration, and from that declaration, there comes action. Did the building, the high-rise, just appear? Or was it in somebody's mind? Did somebody have a thought about the first high-rise and how they might have it built?
Mm-hmm.
Did that person then take action? Did they buy property? Did they hire an architect? Did they share their vision with others? Absolutely. It started with one person, and they enrolled many others into their vision, into what it was that they wanted. How did we get a president? How did Obama become president of the United States? How did we get Barack Obama to be president of the United States?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly he never, ever would have been voted into office if he hadn't have said, I want to be president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
If he had been sitting at home quietly thinking to himself, I could do so much if only these people would elect me president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I have all these wonderful plans, all these wonderful things that I can see that I could do. If he had done that, he never would have been president.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely no way. Why? Because he kept them in thought format. He never expressed them. But that's not what happened. He expressed himself. He told people all around him, this is what I want. This is my vision. This is where I want to. And people agreed with him. People said, I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And they began to flock to him, and they began to support him. And as time went by, he built a base of people that he enrolled in his vision of what it was he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
He took a lot of action.
Oh, yeah. Took action in ways that other people had never done, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he became president.
Right. And this is, a case of the universe gave him everything that he wanted, but he also listened to what the universe told him to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's something I'm going to toss out there since I'm actually having fun tossing things out to you tonight. Yay. So there, of course, are going to be people that say, oh, God, he's the worst president in the world. There's this, there's that, negative, positive. Why does somebody like him get what he got, but I totally disagree with him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can't believe this person's at the top. And you can apply this to anybody. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now, for me, it's a case of they told the universe what they wanted, they were determined, and the universe said, sure. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your take on that?
The person that gets what they want is the person that decides that they're going to have what they want, and they keep their focus in that manner. The person who expresses what they don't want gets exactly what they don't want. These people, these naysayers, these people who say, well, he doesn't do what I want, and this is what I would do, but I don't like what he does, and I think that he's no good, and I think, guess what? They're getting all of the things that they don't want.
Mm-hmm.
Because where they're focused in the negative realm. They're focused on what they don't want.
And that is critical, everybody.
Yep.
If anything, that is one of the most critical things in the universe for you to understand and adapt. It's all about what you want. Stay away from what you don't want, because you're going to get exactly that. Mm-hmm. And for what it's worth to everybody, hypnosis operates exactly the same way. I stay away from negatives when I'm doing hypnosis with folks because it's way too simple for it to go that way, for the subconscious to latch onto that. Mm-hmm. So it's always, and again, take time to make your day positive, to make positive statements. You haven't done it before, you don't think you can do it, stand in front of a mirror and get used to it. Enjoy it, have fun with it. But it truly is amazing how many people especially, you can say with this economy or whatever, but it's amazing how it tends to work that way too. They only are focused on what they don't want. And, understand that it's about what you truly want in this world, that's how you get what you want. That's how the universe operates.
So the one thing and the one reason, I guess one way to put it is the one reason why it needs to be presented in a positive manner is because the universe doesn't hear the no, or doesn't hear the don't. It doesn't hear not. It hears only the focus.
The intent.
Don't hear, there's not a I want ice cream. There's not a I don't want ice cream. There is only ice cream. Both of those statements are focused on ice cream. If you don't want ice cream and you say I don't want ice cream, your focus is still on ice cream. The universe still hears ice cream. And that's the focus. That is why you want to focus on what it is you want. You don't want to not forget. You want to remember. Huge difference. Because I don't want to forget is telling the universe, forget. Forget, forget, forget. I want to remember is telling the universe, remember, remember, remember.
And it's also your intent on that. You're in a completely different area when you say and do either one of those. And the universe is operating off that intent.
It's operating off of the focus of the intent. It's like it catches. It's just like us. It only catches one or two of the words.
Yeah, really. Well, look at it this way. If you sit there and say, "Oh man, I love ice cream. I'm going to go get some." Well, guess what? You're operating from a positive, uplifting intent. It's much easier to take action than if you're operating from a negative, oh man, crappy intent. Far harder to take action as a physical being. So now that we're talking about this, I really do like ice cream. So when we're done here, I'm going to go get some ice cream tonight.
See what I did? I set your intention to...
It's going to involve whipped cream and a cherry, too. Yes.
Such fun. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Well, this was a different one tonight for us, but it was stuff that had to get out there.
It was fascinating.
So many things have exploded around and within even us, my family, just because we decided to do things differently than we'd done them before. And suddenly, we're not being overwhelmed, but we would be if we weren't willing to be open to it. Does that make sense to you, everybody?
Absolutely.
If we were locked down and all this was happening, we would be freaking out. But so many stunning opportunities have opened up for us in the last 72 hours, especially in relation to the website, that all of a sudden things just became unlimited in a good way. And since we're not operating from a fear base, we're operating from a greater good base and happy, and greater good for us and the family, and greater good for the people that we do things with. This is easy to do now. But I can promise you, if we were like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Oh, what am I going to do? Oh man, my plate's so full already. This isn't an opportunity. This is a stone around my neck. And then, that would serve no purpose for us. So that's why, I wanted to sit there and talk tonight about just putting it out there that once you open up, once you decide to live, and then as you expressed it so wonderfully, once your focus of intent is on your greater good, it's amazing how the space is there. It's amazing how the universe is more than happy to fill it with something tasty. And then you're in a position to where you're more than willing to take a bite out of it and do something with it.
Mhm. Exactly.
So we just spent 45 minutes so that I could say that. Cool.
Yep.
But, that's just the way it works out.
Yeah,
But
get
that's
down to
what
the
it comes
nitty
down
gritty.
to. Mm-hmm.
Down to the nitty gritty. What is it that you want?
And keep it simple, sweetheart. The KISS principle. Keep it simple, sweetheart.
Nutshell. Make it a nutshell.
Yeah.
Don't give all of the reasons why you can't have what it is you want, because now your focus has just left what you want and gone to why you can't have it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is going to put more and more and more roadblocks in front of you. You don't want that. What you want is to have a smooth, easy road.
Mm-hmm.
So, short and sweet.
That's it.
Declare it, and then take inspired action and be it.
It's funny you said declare it. I heard somebody here, actually not that long ago, maybe a month ago, they said declare it and wear it.
Exactly. I like that.
Fair
Declare
enough.
it and wear it.
Declare it and wear it. And so there you go. There's a bumper sticker, folks. Declare it and wear it.
Awesome.
I ran into a lady in the Caribbean a couple of years ago, and she was having some major health issues at the time. So me being who I am, helped her out with it, even though I'm on vacation. But I'm never on vacation because life is a vacation for me. And, when we were done, she's like, oh, that was fantastic. And she said, this was great because I knew that something like this was going to happen to help me out. And she said, and I said, really? I said, what gives you that attitude? What is it? She said, well, I've been raised since I was a little girl that I'm just too blessed to stress. And I said, well, that works. I can live with that. That works for me. So go through life that you're too blessed to stress, and it's amazing how life is more than happy to hand you the good stuff.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Well, darling, is that it for tonight? What do you think?
I think so. That's awesome. I like that. Declare it and wear it. You're too blessed to stress.
Mm-hmm. And say that to yourself in a mirror, folks. I'm too blessed to stress. And, declare it and wear it. Today, I am enjoying my day. Something as simple as that. Walk out the door. Today, I love myself. Walk out the door with it. Wear it. And have fun with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been awesome, Dane. Always is.
You know it, dear. Anytime hanging with you is great.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wind this down. Give me just a second here. Thank you to everybody who comes around and listens to the archives and anyone that's been listening here live. And till next week.